Greetings and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. Today we have an absolutely amazing story, a tale that is just beautiful and stunning in every possible way that features an elderly woman who is dealing with a bunch of vagrants seeking drugs, seeking hookahs, and her fight against all of these people, why she's in this pickle, and whether or not she's actually some kind of super kingpin of crime. Now, she isn't, which I want to make 100% clear in case this elderly woman is litigious, because I don't want to get sued for a joke. However, it is quite funny to imagine, and she is at the center of this story, that she is in fact a crime kingpin. That being said, before we get into the main topic, for those of you who are unaware, I recently dropped a video on that police-related incident out of Memphis, Tennessee. It was age-restricted 7 different times by YouTube. I tried editing the video repeatedly in order to get around the age restriction so I could deliver you the information. All my appeals were rejected, so you might have noticed not seeing that video, not being able to get through it without watching 2 different warnings from YouTube, and even my community tab post when I went to check the comments was also restricted. Now, there's no violence, there's no swearing in the video within the first 15 seconds, which is something that YouTube also claimed about that video. Yet, it was age restricted, so I want to give a special thank you to my members over at my website before we roll into this story, just so you guys know I am dealing with quite a frustrating situation over here. But without further ado, we're not focusing on the negative anymore, let's get into the positives, which is this NBC News segment.
I'm frustrated, I'm irritated, and I'm beyond done.
Instead of basking in her retirement, Elaine White has been left with sleepless nights, wondering,
how can a man, a grown man, go to a house in a neighborhood thinking they're gonna get sex?
Already, I'm so hyped for this story. Already, from this moment, when my brother shared this video with me, I knew that this was going to be a video because the slow zoom in on our face, the way they opened it up by showing the wind chimes, hyping up the sound of those wind chimes, and this woman, Miss White, saying she's tired, she's sick of it, and then the zoom in and her saying that, I knew that this was not only going to be a fun story, but this was going to be a legendary story. Let's get further into it.
Elaine White has been left with sleepless nights, wondering,
how can a man, a grown man, go to a house in a neighborhood thinking they're gonna get sex?
Now, I know this question is posed in like a very dramatic way, and the answer's supposed to be that that man is ridiculous, but I would just want to point out that if you are a man and you are looking for that, where else would you go but somebody's home? I would hope you would go to somebody's home, because the alternative is to do it outside, and that would just be wildly inappropriate. Now, in the context of this video, Elaine White's statement makes a lot of sense. It's like, why are these men coming to her house seeking that? But the thing is, that's exactly where you go, so I'm gonna have to ding you on that, and ding the news agency for covering this story for not pointing out that's exactly what you would do if you were seeking that kind of thing. Go to somebody's house where there's a person that lives there, then that's who you would do it with. Obviously, that house is going to be in a neighborhood.
how or why is her East Plano home being used online to lure men looking for sex workers?
As many hookers and prostitutes are out there, go get one. Leave me alone. I'm not here for that.
Listen, I've been to Plano, Texas. I actually did an event in Plano, Texas, and a bunch of you guys indicated that I was mispronouncing it all while I was promoting it, and yet I totally rejected your assessments and corrections. But this woman is exactly what you think of when you think of an elderly Texas woman. She's like, listen, don't come here, go somewhere else, there's plenty of hookers in the world, they do not live here, I am not a crime kingpin, stop trying to pretend like I am, get the hell off of my property. But it's even more funny.
What are they saying to you?
They're saying they're here for an appointment for Nikki. Some are for Kelly, some are for Nikki. Now it's Rhonda.
Some are for Kelly, some are for Nikki, and now it's Rhonda. There is no Rhonda here. Do I look like a Rhonda? That is what that woman is saying to herself in the mirror each and every day. How crazy would it be if this woman was actually like the kingpin? She was actually the madam, she was actually in control of all these women, or better yet, she had that multiple personality thing that's way more serious in real life than it's in the movies, but she had the movie version, and she actually was all of those people.
Since last year, White says around 25 men have come to her door at all hours, young and old, all ethnicities, locals, and from as far away as Laredo, pressing her Ring doorbell.
So I love the way that this news segment frames all of these men showing up to this poor woman's house as like a cross-section of America. Men from all across the state, young and old, all demographics, are all showing up to her home looking for some action. And by the way, I just want to ask this question to those of you out there in the audience, because I absolutely never ring anybody's doorbell, absolutely ever. Since the advent of cell phones, the thing that I do when I show up to your place is I shoot you a text or I give you a call so that you could come out. But do people still actually ring doorbells in non-professional settings? Like the UPS guy will ring my doorbell, the postman will ring my doorbell, the FedEx man will dump my stuff in the trash can and pretend like he hid it behind my place, but he'll also ring my doorbell. But I don't ring doorbells, and no normal people do that, so this is obviously a red flag.
Excuse me?
She's confronting some of
Am I
them.
supposed to meet someone here or no? Is this the wrong place?
Which name?
Rhonda?
For drugs or sex?
Second one?
Look, I don't know how you guys out there in the audience want to judge these men who actually may have been scammed financially. They might have paid for these services prior to showing up to the place based on the ads that they saw online. I don't know if you're in favor of them or against them, but this guy has no assessment of the situation that he finds himself in, so I feel a little bit bad because clearly he was an easy mark for a scam. If you go to a door and you're looking for a hookah and you hear an old lady's voice from the other side of the door and she asks you a straight up question like this, obviously, this is not the ideal situation. Obviously, this is not what you were looking for. Obviously, something is amiss. This is the easiest and most obvious sting operation thing you could ever do. But this guy, his threat detection only allows him to say the second one in response to her question.
For drugs or sex?
Second one?
He doesn't try to deflect. He doesn't try to use code words or anything like that. He just says the second one. That's what I'm looking for. Are you Rhonda, old lady that definitely has a voice that does not match the pictures as portrayed? Also, if you're just looking for a little bit of hookah, then you should be put off by the fact that the person is saying, are you here for drugs or for the hookah? Obviously, this does not align. Obviously, your threat detection should be going off, but this person is not realizing the danger that he's in because this is Texas, and you best believe that this old woman not only comes through the Ring doorbell system, but she comes carrying a firearm and ready to roll.
For drugs or sex?
Second one?
Well, you know what? This is a bait house, and you have about 10 seconds to get away from it, or the cops are going to get you.
First of all, respect for scaring this guy off. Again, quite slow on the uptake. He needed to be told that this was a bait house and that he was going to get arrested if he doesn't get off the property in 10 minutes. So he takes off. But let's hear what's going on in this situation, because it's really odd for all of these people to be showing up to this one woman's house repeatedly over and over again. Also, notice that the police can't really do anything related to this situation because at this point in time, there's no real crime that was being committed. They show up, they ring the doorbell. When asked to leave, most of these people leave immediately. However, that does not mean that these situations can't get out of hand and that they haven't taken a little bit more force from this elderly woman in order to get them off the property.
She says police have responded, but only make the men leave, telling her she could be the innocent victim of a sex trafficking ring posing as a massage website.
Some sex website that nasty old men go and look for sex. They pay Venmo for the services, and then they get my address and they come here.
Listen, this is some advice from me to you, from AJW to those of you out there in the audience. Do not Venmo a hooker. Don't Venmo for drugs. Do not Venmo for any other purpose other than when you see the link in the description of this video and you want to donate to AJW. this is an absolutely terrible idea. You don't want a digital record of your illegal transaction. That makes no sense at all whatsoever. And remember, cash is king whenever you're dealing with hookahs or drugs. Stop digitally paying for things that are illegal goods or services. Now, some of you might be pointing out that I'm not saying stop obtaining these illegal goods and services, because that goes without saying. Obviously, this is a channel where we talk about law and legalese and all of that. But the thing is, if you're already considering Venmoing hookahs, then I just want you to stop, because obviously you got some kind of problem and you don't realize that that cash is in fact king. Also, if you meet a hookah in a hotel or motel, bring a Ziploc bag and put your wallet in the Ziploc bag and then put that in the lid part of the toilet, the top part, so that way if somebody comes in to rob you, they won't get your wallet. How do I know this very specific method in order to deal with this very specific situation? Well, you should figure that one out on your own, and only keep the money that you intend to pay to the hookah on hand and never let her see the origin point of that money. Again, not saying anything, I must have read this in a book somewhere.
Security signs aren't keeping Johns away. Neither is this spray-painted sign she's resorted to. Kelly does not live here.
I understand that this woman is in dire straits. All these different men are coming up to her door, soliciting hookahs, soliciting drugs, and all of that, and it's really put a strain on her life post her retirement. She has the security signs, which, you would hope would deter people, but you understand why they wouldn't deter people. But this sign right here that says Kelly doesn't live here is just not effective for what she wants to do. Nobody thought Kelly lived there. Everybody thought Kelly worked there. They wanted to visit her at work, if you catch my drift. So you need to change up this sign and say, listen, there is no Kelly. Even if there was a Kelly somewhere out there in the world, she does not work here. I am not her madam, or at least I'm not going to own up to this in this local news segment. Please go to the appropriate brothel or seek a refund from Venmo. Write them a letter about how you paid a hooker over Venmo for some ungodly reason.
Look at the sign on my front door.
Oh, okay.
Get the off my front porch.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, the entire reason I'm covering this story, out of all the stories that I could have covered on the internet.com, is for the fact that this woman has this kind of attitude. She's threatening people seeking hookahs with guns for going on her property, and I'm all here for it.
Fed up, she's backing up this warning on her door.
Yes, I have my Smith & Wesson 357 Magnum loaded 4-inch barrel next to me.
Okay now.
And I answer the door with it.
In fact, everything about this elderly woman is what the kids would call basted. Now, some of you out there, every time I bring up the word basted and how the kids call things that are cool basted, seem to think that I'm saying basted like a turkey. No. It's spelled B-A-S-E-D-I-D. Basted. That's how the kids are saying it. Trust me, I am hyped up with the slang. This is totally not sarcasm. I really appreciate all you people who left me comments trying to correct me, because I know you meant well, and I know you totally weren't going off and not understanding what sarcasm was.
Yes, I have my Smith & Wesson 357 Magnum loaded 4-inch barrel next to me.
Okay now.
And I answer the door with it.
That woman just terrified the news reporter that was there. You heard her voice after she said, yes, I got my Smith & Wesson loaded 4-inch barrel right next to me. The lady was like, okay now. She was terrified.
Okay now.
Because she knows this woman does not mess around. And by the way, I don't know why, and I wish this definitely did exist, and if it doesn't, the next time one of these gents shows up to her place, she needs to say this, that Rhonda or Kelly aren't here, but guess who is here? My good friends Smith & Wesson. Get off my property. Look, this is an absolutely crazy story. You have a situation where people are being scammed out of money financially. They're being directed to this elderly woman's residence specifically, and I know they're saying it might just be this online scam and they picked an address at random, but the fact that they keep using this address consistently makes me think that there's the potential that there's some kind of targeting of this elderly woman. Maybe there's a bunch of kids running a catfishing scam, collecting the money, and sending those people to that elderly woman's house. But this is actually deadly serious, because not only is this woman armed, and not only is she ready to defend herself, herself. But when you scam people out of money that think they're getting drugs, so they might be addicts, or think they're going to have this encounter with this obviously attracted woman as presented to them on the internet, that leads to anger. That anger can be taken out in a bunch of irrational ways. We've covered stories where people have gotten scammed mildly and they've just targeted the closest person near them with aggressive physical violence. And I don't want to see this elderly woman get hurt. I don't want to see the people who show up get shot due to what's going on, and you're just creating a recipe for disaster. They're showing up at all hours of the night to this elderly woman's home. She has every right to be terrified, and we can end up in a situation where she shoots somebody, they get hurt, or she gets attacked and she gets hurt, or somebody gets killed, or something like that, and that is just not acceptable. That's not a good outcome. So while it is funny to talk about this woman as a potential kingpin in a joking way, please don't sue me, elderly lady, or talking about her going full Clint Eastwood saying, I got my friends Smith and Wesson.
We're not just gonna let you walk out of here. Who's we, sucker? Smith and Wesson and me.
Yes, I have my Smith & Wesson 357 Magnum loaded 4-inch barrel next to me.
In reality, this is a very dangerous situation. At the time that they did this story, they said about 25 different men showed up. These are 25 different men that are engaging in criminal activity that just felt like that they got scammed, and as that number goes up, the chances of one of these dudes being unhinged, unstable, by the way, people often target hookers for violence, so maybe they prepared for some kind of violence against Rhonda or Kelly or whoever, then this going south get exponentially higher. This woman is in fact in danger, and while she's cool as hell, and while she's given us this no-nonsense approach, in reality, the police gotta do something about this. They have to start investigating. They have to shut down whatever website this is being conducted on so that we don't see this situation repeat. And to whoever's being held responsible, I think some serious criminal charges need to be put down. Because to me, when you do this over and over and over again, this gets right up there with swatting, even if the intent isn't the same. When it happens so many times, the chances of violence occurring go up, as I said, exponentially. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think about this crazy story. Is it just fun in every possible way? Is it serious? Or is it some combination of the two? Also, do you think this woman is actually the kingpin of all crime in Plano, Texas? Let me know if that's your opinion down in the comments below. Again, don't sue me. I'm just joking. It's just for the comments down below. If you like this video, show me by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on all my social medias, support me via the support links in the description box of this video. This has been me talking about a hilarious local news story, which is, I guess, 50% of what I do. Till next time.